Hello and welcome to the RWBY podcast. I am the Crypt Keeper Mediocrity 4.
But Halloween's over. It's me, high-powered, and I'm enjoying the chocolate part of a Neapolitan. So
3 holes, 3 flavors.
Oh God.
yes,
Neo,
yes, and that's not implying that I like to eat ass.
This just in, everybody.
Anyway.
Neo wears Roman's hat. Neo wears Roman's hat. Neo wears Roman's hat. That's all that matters this episode. I am dude. What the heck?
And once again, Best Boy wins popularity poll for like 3 years in a row now. I am Sakugo. God. Best Boy.
I have
And-
no idea how he keeps winning those popularity polls.
I do not like it as much as some people do. But anyway.
Development he's building.
I mean, yeah, but anyway.
I mean, even the RWBY
I
fans
require
are
long walks at night. I am Robert.
So first of all, might as well just get this out of the
Yep.
way. So it is now confirmed and official that Roman is dead and is not coming back.
Yes. As if
So-
that wasn't already blatantly
there's-
obvious when he
I
got
know.
nommed.
I know, right?
I mean, there is potential for like if this whole like Grimm thing pans out and they kind of have hallucinogenic like dreams or something like that. Like
Or some
could have
sort
a
of
potential
dream
for-
Roman, maybe.
Yeah, like a dream Roman, because stuff like if we have this whole Freddy Krueger thing, then like if we go into like Ruby's head a little bit, then
Yeah.
there's a potential there.
Oh yeah, we mean
So-
come back as in like live again kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we
Yeah.
But no,
could.
yeah, he's 100% dead. It's sad.
Yeah, but I don't know. Neo's back, and I don't really care. Like I don't know. Lately, my attitude towards Neo has been very similar to my attitude towards Arcos, which is I was fine with it until the fandom started being dummies about it.
I see what you
when
mean. Yeah.
people, with people bitching about Cinder being back but Neo not being back, it's like, guys, it's like, first of all, they were acting like, Cinder was the first, fictional character to ever survive being frozen in ice and thrown off a cliff.
Yeah,
And
you'll not
second
watch
of all,
anime?
they're acting like the physics of Neo's survival isn't also bullshit.
Oh yeah.
So it's like the fandom was being really dumb about it, so I was starting to get really sick of it, but it's nice that she's back, and yeah, and I did like that little I don't know. I thought the fight was pretty good. Like, I don't think there were any serious animation errors, though that's pretty easy since you've only got 2 people fighting and stuff like that. But it was fun, showcase. Like, they were both pretty evenly matched, although Cinder was clearly holding back, not using the maiden powers.
Yeah.
Which is nice of her, not to wreck Miss Malashade's place. So, yeah.
Yeah, but even still, just pure martial skills. Like I'm very happy with how they animated Neo because they still kind of kept some of her flair from when Monty was animating her.
They did a good job animating this fight scene. This is probably the best fight scene we've gotten in a very long time.
They were making use of the environment and everything.
Well, as far as one-on-one fights go.
As far as one-on-ones go, I was gonna
It's a really
say.
good one-on-one fight.
I think the
it's a-
opening sequence was still cooler overall, personally. It was
That
nice.
initial.
Oh, go ahead.
It's nice to have her back. I understand why they brought her back because I feel like my theory on they lost a lot of first subscribers and they had to take a long, hard look in the mirror and they're like, well, we got to fix something about this. And they looked over at the break in case of emergency wall, and then they took the little hammer and they went dink, and then they brought back Neo.
Yeah.
They shattered the glass, and of course, that's kind of her semblance.
Yeah.
Neo
But,
jumped up. Which is kind of cool, although I'm really trying to figure out, like, what is it, like a substitution jutsu type thing?
It's a glamour
Is it
prism.
like an
It's like I don't know. it's like glamour or something like that. It's very hard to
I
like.
don't know.
Yeah, it's like unless they state it specifically, all we can do is like there's whole like.
I would just
mirrors
assume
bullshit.
it's a visual illusion that can punch you.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah, but like breaks very easy. So like a shadow clone. I don't know, like or like a glass clone.
They're always physical illusions. It's just now, and I think that's what Cinder was talking about when it's like, you've gotten stronger. It's no longer you just put up a glass wall. Now you can actually like have
glass person.
like glass clones running around.
Yeah, become glass and stuff like that. So yeah, which is pretty. Yeah, and like that was so yeah, that's pretty cool. And
He has awakened her devil fruit.
yeah,
Well, I mean, I always
Yeah.
like
she's trained her quirk.
and
you know, if you practice, you can enhance or do more shit with your symbols. I mean, there's really like, I mean, the fight scene was. I do also like how, you know, it was known from the get-go that Little Miss Muffet was gonna like, you know, do extra business on Cinder.
Yeah,
I do like the line where they're sitting there fighting. It's like, oh, I like the dinner and the show. But y'all
you
get
gotta
to take this
take-
outside, and then Cinder immediately. I don't know if she
Everyone
jumps
pull-
through the window or gets thrown through the window.
I think
That
she
gave me a good
jumps.
chuckle though.
yeah,
that was
and
funny.
I wish we had heard like Miss Malashite yell after her after she jumps out. There's a door. But
do you
I
know
did
how,
think it was.
hilarious? Do you know how hilarious that would have been if they would actually had to take the door, just like walk gently, like just walk out of the door, and close it
No,
behind
no,
you?
it, like they actually
That would've been
they
hilarious.
both like walked up the stairs. Like there's like a good like 10.
Yeah.
It would be a Quentin Tarantino scene if they did it, where like they stop the fighting. Cinder walks down, like maybe like rights the chair as she's like leaving out, and then like they both walk out. That would actually be a pretty good scene if they could do it. But they're not Quentin Tarantino, so they can't do it.
Yeah.
That's the Quentin Tarantino
And
scene.
yeah, and I do also like that, like just Little Miss throughout all of this, like when she's first I don't know. I like just the way that like when she's first talking to Cinder, she's got like this big, you know, happy, fake-looking smile on her face, like, "Oh yeah, it's a pleasure doing business with you." And then when like she's actually like revealing, "Hey, by the way, someone else came looking for you," and stuff like that, like, you know, it becomes this more just small little smile of, "Ha ha ha, I know what's actually going on." I thought that was really good, and like, yeah, she's just very chill throughout this. I'm kind of wondering like what exactly she's getting from this other than money. Maybe she's just trying to like see, I don't know, maybe she's trying to figure out what she can get from it. But yeah, I thought it was fun.
So you know what I think about this whole thing?
What's
Well,
that?
I like that Neo wore Roman's hat.
Yeah.
I really
I'm
like.
sorry. Could you say that one more time?
I really like that Neo wore Roman's hat. And I'm not
I'm
even.
really
I
emphasizing
also
throughout
like-
this whole thing. I'm
It-
sorry. I'm not the one who killed your boss.
For the
what I
record,
like
though-
about that?
For-
You want to know what I like about that?
What?
I did that during Neo's first appearance in RWBY Beyond.
Oh, did you? Nice.
They're
And
just
I
ripping
even,
you
I
off.
even, I even went one step beyond by having her use her umbrella with one hand and Roman's cane with the other.
Nice.
Dual wield.
I see what you did
Yeah.
there, by the way. I'm not even one of those people that's like obsessed with Neo. I just thought it would always be adorable if she wore his hat because she already has like a similar outfit thing going on with like a more.
I mean, she began her existence as a gender bend of him.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's literally what she is. She's the gender bend of Roman and stuff like that. And
I also like seeing her
so, yeah,
like
it makes sense.
her outfit's kind of torn up and she's clearly been hard on her luck and stuff like that. I like
Yeah.
seeing that. I like seeing that
Yeah.
this is clearly out of desperation, and I actually like that Cinder, used her power to reason with her instead. I thought that looked really cool. Whereas like all of a sudden, like you can clearly see Cinder's like, no, I can fucking kill you if I want to. I just don't want to right now because I can use you.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was really
I am
good.
pretty. It's like I am also in the gutter with you. Maybe
Yeah.
we can both help each other out of the gutter.
It's like I'm in
That
the.
we are both
Well, not
found
help each
ourselves
other out of
in.
the cover. We can get revenge on RWBY, which is one thing I'm kind of bummed about. I don't know, and this isn't like a huge thing. It's just kind of like one of those not how I would have done it things, but like I kind of would have. I don't know. I talked about this last week that I think it would have been really cool if like Cinder tried to prove herself to Salem by trying to take RWBY alive, but now she seems to just want RWBY dead and stuff like that, which is, it's at least, yeah,
Well, who
yeah,
knows?
it's like it's not gonna
She
make,
could've
it's not
just
gonna
said-
get her back into Salem's good books.
I don't think she cares
but
anymore,
it
though.
is. It's starting to look like she doesn't necessarily care. Like she might, I don't know. Maybe that whole thing of her becoming like an anti-villain or something like that might be coming.
Yeah, and I'm fine
might
with that,
become a thing,
personally.
but like she does it, yeah, which is okay, and like it's. But yeah, so she and Neo both want Ruby dead, and Cinder's kind of like, and so yeah,
I don't know. I just don't want her to go
And
the
Cinder
whole
to-
Zuko route. So
yeah.
I mean, I'm fine with it so far. I guess
I don't
somebody's.
know. I mean, I'm still of the opinion that she might actually want to capture Ruby and bring her back. Or I mean,
Like then she and Neo knock her out, and then Cinder stabs her in the back. And is like, nope, sorry, I'm taking her with me.
yeah, or just does the
Maybe.
freaking. Yeah, well, I definitely could see that's how Cinder kills Neo, where it's like she just like arrows her and then just burns her alive from the inside
Yeah,
out.
I really think if it came down to it, and Cinder's like, no, we're gonna capture her and we're gonna bring her to Salem, Neo would be all for that.
Yeah.
I feel like she would want like
Prolonged suffering.
Ruby to suffer, whatever.
Yeah, that
Salem-
is true. If Cinder's all like, "Hey, guess what? We can." Yeah, that's true. If Cinder's like, "Hey, guess what? We can make her. Instead of just killing her, we can make her suffer horribly by bringing her to Salem." And
I
Neo's all
brought the
like,
car
"Deal."
battery. Did you bring the jumper cables and the sponge?
Yeah.
I don't want to know what.
And the nail stick in the leg.
Okay, so I have things to say about Neo,
Go
and
for it.
I'm going to. This is going to be positive. This isn't an angry rant
Okay.
at the show. This is an angry rant at certain personalities within the RWBY YouTube
Oh,
community.
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Is it
That
Adele?
are-
Is it Adele?
No, it's not Adele this time.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
But yeah, not naming names. So
and I expect this kind of BS from Adele Aka because that's just what he does. But I'm not going to name any names. But because it's not just one person either. There's actually a couple people. There's people in our own Discord that don't seem to get what Neo is. And I've been saying it for a long time. I said this back in I think the first time I said this on record was during our Volume 5 predictions podcast.
Okay.
Where I said that she's a henchman. She's there whenever the villains need some extra muscle.
and currently, right now,
And
Cinder
as
needs
far
all the
as
muscle
that
she can
goes-
get.
And as far as that goes, she's still doing that. Her whole role in this volume is for Cinder to be an even more credible threat to Ruby and the gang. Because right now, Ruby is traveling with 5 other people. There's not much Cinder can do. In fact, I'm going to predict right now, she also runs into Adam along the way.
Yeah, I'm of the
Yeah,
same mindset.
I think
on
so.
that.
I think they're starting like a new supervillain group.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's
Emerald Mercury, you've been replaced.
Yep.
yes.
So they're going the heavy route.
And just when Mercury started to get speaking lines, he's being replaced.
Ouch.
Poor Yuri Lowenthal. Well, and then on the side of the road, they pick up Yuri Lowenthal himself instead,
Yeah.
who's jaded about not getting voice lines.
Is that actually a
Now
thing?
Yuri Lowenthal's gonna see Cinder getting her own little group of. Yuri Lowenthal sees Cinder getting her own little group of
He's gonna
like
be sad that
bad guys
Cinder's
together. He's
hiding
like, "You're
from him."
totally ripping off me. You're totally ripping me off." No,
Yeah.
because that's basically what Sasuke
right.
does in Naruto. But anyway,
Because right now,
Don't start me.
Cinder, and I have a soapbox about her too, defending her role in this volume as well. But I'll get to that
Yeah.
later.
Yeah.
Neo is a henchman. Is like, what? Because people have been asking, like, why do people even like Neo? She's such a nothing character. Like, for the same reason they like Bob from Batman, 1989, a character who's not even in the comic books, yet like has. I think he had the best-selling action figure from that movie that wasn't Batman or Joker.
Huh.
Like he was number 3. In 1980,
that Batman movie. Gotcha. Sorry,
number 1. a guy. She was
Right.
Joker.
Jack Nicholson's henchman.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. She was Roman's number one guy, except a girl.
Yeah.
Because Bob had style. He had presence. He didn't have any like motivation or characterization or anything, but it was all physical because the actor they got for him was a very like, he carried himself with a lot of presence, and he was kind of fascinating in that he was the guy who, when Batman like crashed the party and stuff, Joker was like, "Bob, hand me your gun." Bob hands it to him, and then Joker shoots him.
Yeah.
That's just the kind of guy Bob is. It's cool. Like that's such a cool henchman type character. And that's what Neo is for the show. She doesn't need a personality. In fact, I'd say she'd be a worse character if she did have dialogue, if she did talk, or if she did have like a character arc, or if she did get a lot more deep, because that's just it destroys the entire purpose of her, which is to be more muscle and to be like, again, a lot of style. She has a lot of presence.
Yep, she does.
Yeah. And the villains need muscle a lot more than the heroes do.
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah!
Which is why we're okay with Neo being back, but why we don't want Team Coffee back.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. She's
Neo serves a purpose.
I'm gonna get to that too. She's mute, and so it forces the animators to get a lot of her emotions across physically through body language, and they do it better with 3D animation than the Nomad team did for Nomad of Nowhere with added cartoon sound effects. And a lot of people are like, "Oh, but media, you hate Team Coffee, and people like Team Coffee for the same reasons." Like, but unlike Team Coffee, Neo never destroyed the potential of the show.
Yeah,
exactly. He never
interfered with the main character's development. In fact, Neo has been used to develop 2 of the main 4 characters. That's more than any other villain has.
Yeah, exactly.
Because she started like Yang. So she was the inciting incident that had Raven show up in the story the first time, and she was also her and Roman together, and this is actually more credit to Roman, were the inciting incident for RWBY's best moment in Volume 3.
Yeah.
Plus, she's actually she served her purpose the entire time. Coffee did not serve what they were originally designed to do, which was simply to be the older characters in the show. Older kid characters or whatever.
Senpais.
The senpais that show what power is supposed to be at the next level, but they fuck that up because their power is way beyond what one more year of training should have been in the end of Volume 2. So they really fucked that up. Plus, they weren't really originally designed. They weren't originally even supposed to exist. They were originally.
Technically, neither was Neo. But yes.
That's true. But so I guess that's a dumb argument.
But yes,
either way, the first point stands.
One of Monty's fever dreams that he wakes up and just does it.
When you get inspiration,
like I said, she's a gender-bent Roman. He saw some fan art of a gender-bent version of Roman. He was all like, "Hey, that would be a cool character, and it would be nice for Roman to have a henchman. Let's do this." And Neo, I don't really care that Neo's back. I was honestly I was starting to get annoyed with everyone insisting that she should come back. But I don't mind that she's back as much as I would hate it if Team Coffee was back, like you said, because Team Coffee was, interfered and stuff like that, and they got in the way. Neo doesn't do that. Neo helps develop other characters, and Cinder could use a henchman right now. So I think it's a good. I don't mind that she's back. I think they should use her well. I don't think she should I don't know. Some people think that they should just kill off Cinder and have it be all Neo. That's stupid. Those people are stupid. But
it's dumb.
I think Neo should just keep doing what she's doing. Be Cinder's henchman and henchwoman or henchgirl, whatever.
I will say this too. The voice acting for Cinder in this part wasn't great, but if it was any worse, it would have dramatically ruined this. It would have made this scene a whole lot worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have.
I thought it was a little bit better than usual.
Yeah, I thought it was a little better than usual. Also, I didn't have a problem with it. Usually, I often have a problem with her voice acting. I did not right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do appreciate.
I think there was a
like,
different character whose voice acting was a problem this episode, but we'll get to that later.
Oh yeah, no, we will get to that because two basically the same scenes happen, but with two different characters.
Yeah.
Why am I not surprised?
Yeah.
So,
But also sorry.
Can I do my soapbox on Cinder now? Since
Yeah,
you guys were talking about that?
I was actually sure. Go ahead. Yeah.
Cinder was introduced in the very first episode of the show and introduced as a benchmark for RWBY to eventually surpass, and a rivalry was certainly established at least as early as the second episode of Volume 2 when they ran into each other. And then you also got the stuff with the CCT and to a lesser extent like the Fall of Beacon when they ran into each other on the tower. And the entire series has been building from that very first scene in the show for an eventual RWBY versus Cinder climax. That's why that's one of the biggest reasons why I personally despise the Battle of Haven, because Cinder completely outright just ignored the entire reason why she was there.
And you notice they retconned that. They kind of retconned that in this episode, and I'm totally happy about it.
Yeah, with Cinder reestablishing, okay, I'm out to kill RWBY. So,
yeah, exactly. She basically, that's a retcon. And what did we say before this volume started, Robert? That
they were going to need lots and lots of retcons.
They were going to need lots and lots of retcons to make this volume good, and so far they are doing that, and it proves us right that they needed to retcon things, because make no mistake, Cinder saying that is a retcon, because she showed no interest in RWBY at all, basically, in the Haven fight. But she is now.
Even though it was the exact same reason, even though it's why she decided to team up with Raven in the first place.
Yeah.
So yes.
So yeah, that's a retcon, but it's a good retcon. So we're not complaining about the writers, at least for this volume. We're complaining about the. Yeah, there's people that said they didn't need to retcon stuff. Yeah, they did.
Pretty much, it would be bad if Cinder never showed up again in the series.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It would be a million times worse than that if they had that scene with her in the second episode of this volume and then never followed through with that.
Yeah.
Like that, and that's what just.
Yeah.
The people who are the person in particular that I'm thinking of who is trashing on this episode basically wanted that. Like it's absurd. Like, I really think this volume has been really solid. There's been some things I haven't liked, and I've been on record pointing out the things I don't like. There's only one episode in this volume that I didn't really have any problems with. And this volume, I think, is separating because the RWBY YouTube community got really oversaturated with content creators and reviewers because of Volume 5.
Yeah.
There was a huge influx of people building their channels off of hating on Volume 5.
Yes.
Like, they don't have anything to
which
really
people thought that you were doing and thought that we were doing with our podcast, which isn't true, because those are it was an influx of people coming to watch this stuff, but they didn't watch our Volume 4 stuff when we were all positive, including media was more positive too.
Yeah. I said this before the
podcast. With Volume 4. But anyway, finishing my point.
Go ahead. Sorry.
This volume is separating the actual critics from the bullshit artists.
Yeah.
Like Adele.
People like Adele.
Adele being a bullshit artist, by the way. 100% he's a bullshit artist.
Adele Aka will not survive this volume. if it maintains this level of quality going into the off season, Adele Aka's viewerships will start to dwindle because he'll just keep grasping at straws and hating on a show people like again.
Yeah.
This is why it is extremely important. The reason why Fat Man has survived as long as he has is because he points out when the show is good. Because he was actually
he acknowledges its quality. Yeah, he liked Volume 4, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and he even I think he even started off his Volume 5 review with some positives.
Yeah.
He did.
That's more than you could get from us.
That's true.
He could have easily made that just a 2-hour long bitch fest, and no one would have knocked him because it's Volume 5. but he has the intellectual honesty to point out the qualities in a comprehensive, pedantic review.
Yeah.
And put all that stuff up front so that you understand where he's coming from when he spends the next hour and 15 minutes
tearing it up.
crashing.
Plus another video that'll come out eventually.
Yeah, and at that point, you could have stopped watching the review there, because you know what's going to happen during the rest of the review.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this was something I said before before we started and stuff like that. I was talking to you guys about how there's generally like 4 main schools of thought about the general like quality of RWBY and of RWBY. There's the people who think that it's perfect, it's always been perfect, it always will be perfect, Hero High basically, who say that, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it and nobody can say that it's bad and stuff like that. Then there's the people who say that it's, it was perfect until Volume 4 when Miles and Carries took over, even though they did not take over at Volume 4. They took over at Volume 3, and even before that, they were very much involved in this, and, Monty really needed their help leading up to that, so that's complete and total bullshit. But anyway, that Volume 4 is where things started to go downhill. Then there's us, who recognize that the show's always been flawed, show's always been broken, it's always had issues, but Volume 5 was really, really bad, but, Volume 4 was good, and Volume 6 has actually been doing pretty good so far. And then, there's the people who think the show has always been terrible, always will be terrible, and they're basically just, here to make everyone that likes the show and wants to like the show feel, basically. And like you said, they're kind of grasping at straws right now. And they really came out of the woodwork with Volume 5 because it was easy pickings. Basically.
Like, there were so many things you just make videos on and build a support base on. But, even going on to the other, RWBY reviewers, YouTube videos or whatever, leaving comments that are, 5 paragraphs long and shit like that. And they're building on hate. You can't build on hate like that. It's not constructive. There is no point. You are literally doing nothing for the community except being toxic. And we don't need that here. We do not need that.
I mean you can, people have done that with Sword Art Online, but that only works so long as whatever you're being
actually stays bad.
Continues to stay bad, like Sword Art Online has, or anything post Return of the Jedi Star Wars has.
Here's the thing.
I actually like the prequels.
Even then, with Star Wars, I actually don't think that's okay because there have been decent Star Wars things since Return of the Jedi. The TV shows, especially the Clone Wars TV, both the Clone Wars TV shows, the Genndy Tartakovsky one and the.
And people love the Clone Wars because a lot of the Star Wars content creators on the internet have at least some level of intellectual honesty.
Yeah.
And I know nothing about Star Wars.
And I'm not gonna lie, I liked Rogue One. I know media didn't love it, but it was at least good for what it was. And I actually thought Solo was pretty decent too. Not gonna lie, Solo was definitely better than Episode 8.
My favorite part of Rogue One was the shuttle door gunner a la fucking Full Metal Jacket.
Oh yeah.
If they run, they're a stormtrooper. If they stand still, they're a well-disciplined stormtrooper.
Yeah, I like that guy.
But I did
I think we should probably get back on topic.
Yes, we should.
Just one more thing I'm gonna say.
Go ahead.
To what media's been saying about Cinder being back and all that. I think it should be pointed out. None of us really I don't think any of us really like Cinder all that much.
No,
okay,
I don't care
Cinder,
about it.
I mean, Cinder's now starting to grow.
We don't like Jessica Negri's voice acting.
Oh yeah, no, definitely
stuff
not.
Like that. None
Terrible.
of us Sock like Cinder. Sorry, but none of us on this podcast really like Cinder all that much. I still understand the place.
Like what they kind of set up for her.
That's right. Yeah. Okay, that's true. Okay, leading up to this volume, none of us really liked Cinder all that much. None of us liked what they'd done with her.
My gripes with Cinder are completely in everything regarding her execution.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's been our main issue is like, yeah, the ways that she's been executed and stuff like that. But yeah, for the most part, we've liked what she's done this volume because she's shown some agency. She in this episode, she she works to get through to Neo and stuff like that, and so this volume she's been pretty good. This is probably the most I've liked her in some time.
This is the most I think I've liked her ever.
Yeah, but like none of us like Jessica Negri's voice acting, and we've had a hard and like Cinder's been a really difficult character to like. We're not denying that, but she is not like Adam levels of unsalvageable, and I'll talk about some things with Adam a little later in this podcast.
I will take Jessica's voice acting over whoever voices Adam.
Well, yeah, she's actually shown improvement over time.
She's improving.
She's shown improvement over time.
We liked her in volume 4. We liked her voice acting.
He's almost gotten worse. He's almost somehow gotten worse over time.
Yeah. So part of what we hate, part of what we've hated about Cinder is just the way that she's been executed. But like we said, she's nowhere near as unsalvageable as Adam is, and so she's got it's like what we want. We're not ready for them to give up on her. Basically, is kind of the general attitude. I think is that we want to see them actually do a good job with her, make her like Ruby's shadow, Ruby's rival, and make her character work. And that's kind of the hope right now, and hopefully that's where they're going. And
make Cinder great again.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of. Yeah. We want that. Yeah, we want that. Yeah, she's bad in the big. Yeah,
except she was never great.
We still want her to fix her.
Yeah.
Not just completely. Abandon her like Adam.
The difference between us and the people that just hate Cinder because they hate her is that we don't love her, but we understand the need for her. We understand the point of her, so we want her.
The necessary part of it.
We understand that we want her to be fixed because it's good for the show. That's the point.
Yeah, so. And that send off they gave her, it's pretty.
Well, we knew that wasn't the send off.
People are claiming they brought her back from the dead. They didn't. They were always going to bring. Yeah, she was always going to.
She didn't die.
Return. Yeah, exactly. They did not.
She was down there for like a month. She was down there for a month.
Yeah, she never went anywhere. She was, they just had to get her out of the way so that Yang and Raven could talk. So she was always going to come back.
Yeah.
And yeah, we want to see her, them actually try and fix her character and do some good stuff with her. So,
which they have been doing so far.
That's the general consent. And yeah, they've done pretty good with her this volume. It feels maybe a little rushed.
I'm fine with that, though. I don't want it to lag. I'd rather go too fast and too slow.
It's better than having her reappear in, episode 12 or something like that.
I'd rather be too fast and too slow, and it still feels fine to me.
You mean exactly like what happened in Volume 5, where they set up her freaking plot thread in Episode 2 and then don't have her come back until Episode 9?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, let's. I think it's time to move on to the second part of the episode, though.
Also, Cinder temporarily forgot that Neo was mutant. That was funny.
Yeah, that was funny. I have a few small notes on the fight scene. Someone, I can't remember who, someone on the Discord was complaining about the cutaways. I kind of try keeping track of the cutaways and the reaction cutaways. When I watched it this morning,
it didn't interrupt the fight.
It totals maybe 3 seconds, all of them put together. This entire sequence is only the first 5 minutes of the episode, and that includes the 1.5-minute intro. And the last minute where they're just
talking,
where Cinder's talking and Neo's emoting. I also like how it seems that when they're fighting, they know how each other fight, and they're kind of trying to exploit each other's weaknesses.
Well, yeah, Cinder. I mean,
Cinder's Neo, much more offensive because she doesn't actually want to fight Neo.
Neo purposely hits Cinder in the eye that's missing.
Yeah. Neo's still doing a lot of the dodging because she knows Cinder's a powerhouse. I don't think Neo knew that Cinder was that Cinder succeeded in getting the maiden powers. I think.
No,
that's
I don't
what
think she did.
Yeah, I don't think she was fully in the know on just how powerful she was. Because she does seem pretty surprised by, holy shit, what are you?
As soon as Cinder whips out the full maiden powers and has like the glowy eyes and the tornado and stuff, Neo stops. Like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna win this fight if I keep going. Yeah. So might as well work with her. Other than that, yeah, I thought it was a really good fight scene.
Yeah. All right, so on to like what we would call like more of the main part of the episode, which would be
we just got done with the potatoes and now we're into the meat.
Which I have less to say about.
We did call the whole horror thing, although it obviously wasn't that hard to call that.
And by we, you mean me.
Yes, you did, high powered.
Man, it feels so good to be right.
As soon as I saw the episode, I was just like, high power's rubbing his cheeks again.
I mean,
I enjoyed it. I really liked it so far.
I thought this episode was really good. There's only one bad part in this scene, which we will get to it. But basically, there's 3 scenes that are broken down within like this whole overarching scene. So the first scene is basically they break into the house and they're like, "All right, well, we're gonna go check the house and see what's up in here."
And for some reason, the only person shivering is the girl who was born in Atlas, is white. Like, she's bundled up, and for some reason, she's the only one shivering, while the girl bearing her midriff
There's 2 girls
totally fine.
There's 2 girls bearing their midriffs. 2 of them are.
Weiss isn't actually cold. She's just a drama queen.
Yeah. So, there's one thing that I liked, which I thought was like super absurd, was whenever they do the entry in the house and RWBY just comes rolling in with the scythe.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that looks so dumb.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense,
but
you know what?
Swing this thing around inside a house, it's like, yuck! Ah, shit.
Yeah.
But,
it did make a lot of sense, but it's like whatever.
I thought it was hilarious.
It's fine.
But so with that episode, it basically boils down to, like, they all kind of break up and they all go search different rooms. Then you have like the stereotypical like horror scream, and then everyone's like, "Oh, Weiss, what's going on?" And then they find like the
also before
bodies.
that, I think we should point out for all the Ladybug shippers out there, RWBY and Blake were alone together for 10 whole seconds. For the first time in the entire series.
They changed dialogue!
Yeah, exactly. For the first time in the entire series.
That's the first time Blake and RWBY have talked like that in since Volume 2?
Literally.
Not even that.
No, ever.
It's the first time. It's
ever.
the first time that has just been them in a scene.
Yeah,
for
that's the first time ever.
Seconds. Yeah.
All right, moving on from that bullshit.
Sorry, just making fun of how dumb Ladybug is. Yeah. Anyway.
So they then discover the dead bodies of the 2 parents in the household or whoever
and we're
owned
assuming
the house.
The kids were probably in another room because they were.
Yeah.
Man, they should have showed the kids just for shock value. That actually would have been cool.
I'm still of the opinion that those kids were like Neo and Roman. I'm just gonna say that right now.
So,
come on, look at the picture, man.
I would be very okay if they showed the kids for added shock value. It honestly would have been better if they discovered the kids instead of...
That's true. That might have made Weiss screaming make a little more sense.
I mean, I still like the way, the angle they're taking for this is that, like, everybody died in their beds, like, asleep. Because that's kind of creepy.
I couldn't help but be like, "Oh, what is this, day 5?"
Because honestly, here's the reason why. Because I expected,
and it's not like someone was like, "Ha, watch this."
Yeah, we knew. Thank you for the demonstration, high powered.
This is why
the reason
I like camera
webcams. Yeah,
as I say, as I'm the only one who's not actually on.
Yeah, fuck you, dude.
So
you fucking hypocrite. So no, I like it because the reason I like it is because I was actually surprised by it. I was expecting. I mean, I knew it was going to be a horror episode, but I thought it was just going to be same old something stalking them or like zombies or some bullshit like that, right? which I still could have been good. But
Or
this
some
is
people were theorizing like Headless Horseman.
yeah,
or
but this
like
I liked because I wasn't expecting this. I wasn't expecting there to be a kind of actual
this
mystery.
is new for the Grimm.
Yeah,
this is new.
And this is the kind. Yeah, there's a mystery going on here. They don't know
we're
what
assuming
happened.
it's a Grimm. Some people have said it might be someone's semblance. I'm assuming it's a Grimm.
I'm assuming
Yeah.
it's a Grimm too. I like that
Yeah,
because
I-
I don't
it
know
would
what
be-
happened. They don't know what happened, and that's a pretty creepy thing to have happen. So
yeah, both the audience
interesting.
and the characters
I like
in the
that.
dark. It doesn't happen a lot in RWBY.
and for the characters, like that's a pretty scary, depressing thing to like. Oh yeah, we're sleeping in this house with people who died in it. We know they're dead. They're still there, and we have no idea how they died. That's not creepy at all.
And it also makes sense that there would still be food around because apparently all these people just died abruptly in their sleep somehow.
Yeah. So it
yeah, it makes
actually
sense
all
for
makes
movies.
sense.
And they have to sleep in that house.
Yeah.
Knowing that the last occupants died in their sleep.
Yeah,
Under
exactly.
mysterious circumstances.
That's
Meanwhile, Maria
creepy.
is just like, let me read you a bedtime story.
Yeah, the
So
blind
here's-
lady wants to read a bedtime story.
She has eyes when they work.
I like.
it's
I
actually
like.
Focus
But
Braille.
anyway.
I just want to say this is like the most I've liked Oscar forever because he barely said anything this whole episode. It's great. All
Well,
right,
and
moving
he's like
on.
too-
Again,
Also,
Ruby's coming up with the plans, and Oscar's just kind of like, "Hey, that's a good idea."
Yep.
It's like, yeah, let's go check and see what's going on.
Is this a study or?
Yeah,
library?
Oscar's becoming a beta orbiter, and and we're okay with this.
Yep.
Yeah,
Shut up
And
and
it's
leave
good.
it to the
Yeah.
leave it to the main characters.
yeah.
Can
And
we-
it is good that Ruby's, being the leader and like being her own cheerful self. That she's like, okay, everyone's kind of freaked out and kind of disturbed. Hey, let's see if we can find some sort of supplies. Let's not just sit around here stewing over the dead bodies upstairs. Let's go figure something
Yeah,
out.
I was gonna say that's one thing
So
I like
here's-
is like
here's
I know
something-
some people were concerned about the whole. I know there's concerns about how long are they going to stay in this house. I agree that if they stay more than 2 more episodes, it's too long. But I'm fine with 2 more episodes.
Yeah, like that's pretty much.
It can make sense, but the thing is, what I like, you can already see the difference because they're all taking actions and they're all doing things right now. Yes, Crow looked first, but then you have Ruby and Weiss are looking for food, and Blake and Yang are going to look for transportation, and they find it. So they are doing stuff. They are taking steps to get the hell out of there.
Well,
They all want to leave.
I can
A
see
part of
the
me is kind of
reason why-
wondering what is Bumblebee's like pulling power.
Also,
but,
since when do motorcycles have tow hitches? But whatever.
So here's a few things I want to.
It's not the horsepower that's the problem. I think Bumblebee
it's
probably
the-
has.
It's the traction.
Bumblebee. Well, no, it's not even the traction. It's where do you hook it up to, and do you have the suspension to carry stuff? Because what people forget is that pickup trucks. The reason that big lorries or big rigs or semi trucks can carry so much is because of their grip, because of all the tires they have, and because their suspension and their design is so heavy duty. They only have around 650 horsepower at the most, and 2,000
Hell
foot
yeah,
pounds,
this
and
is a
2,000
welding
foot
truck
and 2,000
podcast
foot pounds
now.
of and 2,000 foot pounds of torque. But Bumblebee has enough horsepower and torque because it's a sport bike. She probably has at least 150 horsepower and at least 100 foot-pounds of torque, which would be enough to carry the.
Yeah. It has
But I
enough.
doubt it.
The
power
weird thing is the
completely
fact that
strip the
motorcycles
back
don't
end
have
of
tow
it.
hitches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's
it
the thing.
It probably
But
has enough horsepower to where if it tried just carrying that entire trailer with everyone on it, the entire back end would just rip apart.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
she'll have to feather the throttle. So that's not
So
really
here's-
that's not the unbelievable part. It's the tow
So
hitch, but it's
there's
fine.
a few things
I'm okay with it.
I wanted to
Yeah.
point out here, like in this whole little like dialogue bit. So, I do like how Blake was like, basically brought up the idea. It's like, oh, maybe the well was contaminated, and that's why everyone died. Which
Yeah, again, this
I
is
do
so
like that
unlike
something-
the Grimm that nobody believes that it's a Grimm, kind of.
I mean, well, it's kind of like you go down the process of elimination
Yeah.
too. It's like, what would be the easiest thing that could kill a whole village full of people? Someone at night could have just, poured poison into the well, and then look, everyone's dead now.
Yeah.
It's like
A
go.
Grim could have barfed.
I
up
mean, I don't
poison
mind
and
that because
put it
that's like that
It's,
theory.
it's a perfectly logical
yeah,
explanation.
exactly. That's actually a
so
logical
It's,
idea.
it's always good to go from logical to illogical. Another thing I want to bring up too is those bodies have probably been there for a while, because they did mention that it smells, and a human body, whenever it's decomposing, after a period of time stops smelling. And it was also probably preserved pretty well with the cold, dry air inside the house.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming that, they died during the winter.
And assuming that their animation isn't just awful, which I don't think it is. They don't look that decomposed.
Yeah, they look mummified.
Yeah, they look mummified. So... Yeah. Also, I like that they actually did that and showed that, because I actually really thought that RWBY as a show wouldn't have done something like that, because I really think they pussyfoot around too much.
Shown dead bodies?
Yeah, that. It's not really that crazy, but for this show right now, it is kind of, and thank you for doing that.
Ooh, that episode's not going to go over real well in Japan and China.
Probably not.
Because they've got a big taboo against dead bodies.
They don't even show skeletons.
They can cut it out, and they can cut it out around it in Japan if they want to, but
yeah, just show like the bed and it's all, and like put 2 and 2 together, ladies and gentlemen. They found 2 dead bodies.
Yeah, but I'm glad they did it. So I'm glad they're not doing what everybody else is doing right now and making their movies. I'm glad they're not doing what everybody else is doing and making their movies for China first.
So here's the other thing too, and I'll do this because of Crow. So Crow specifically goes out alone to check everything, and then goes back out again to double check. So I think he's just on the booze cruise right now.
Yep. And
yeah.
Based on
RWBY implies like they need to keep this one closed because you don't actually.
I like how they're actually. I like how RWBY's actually calling attention to that now. Finally, and she's.
Well, and then it's a weird bonding point between the two of them because.
Yeah, they both have.
Crow is a functional alcoholic. Weiss's mom is not a functional alcoholic.
This is
I'm
true.
a functional alcoholic. I know functional alcoholics when I see them.
That's actually a really good point.
Yeah.
It's like the whole between those two.
So it's a good sharing through line, and then there is some like low key shipping moments going on with like Right Rose and Bumblebee, but
maybe you went too far. You said too many words, and it happened.
I really like that. Yeah.
I think more than that, and this is just my theory about like what the Grimm is doing. I think Weiss and Yang are already affected by whatever it is.
Yes.
Because they're
tired and stuff like
that.
Yes. I was gonna say that was my favorite. One of my favorite parts of the episode.
They were also the first 2 people to encounter the dead bodies.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
They both fell over there.
Wow. Yeah, that's actually really clever then.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Because I was gonna say that was one of my favorite parts of this episode is.
Hey, everyone, shut the fuck up! What if they took some notes out of like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and the Grimm has like some weird fucking stand ability?
I've never watched JoJo's.
I haven't either, so I have no idea what you're talking about.
Maybe.
Media and Robert know what I'm talking about, though.
Yeah.
So let's go to the Blake and Yang scene, which I personally really liked, apart from one elephant in the room. Well, let's just talk about it. Blake's voice acting is just getting worse and worse.
Yeah.
I didn't mind it too much, but
it's getting fine.
There was that also, so Blake's all, I don't know. I feel like they were trying to retcon something else here that I don't think they should have tried to retcon, which was they tried to explain how Adam got jobs so it felt like they were kind of trying to do jobs so spectacularly. Like Blake's all like, oh yeah, he's strong, but his real strength is just getting into your head and bringing you down to his level and blah blah blah. It's like, but I got the feeling that was their way of trying to be. Oh no, Blake in Volume 3 was because of the mind games, and yeah, it totally makes sense that she beat him in Volume 5. Fuck you, no, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
Blake's
I kind of feel like that might have been what they were
it's
trying
like
to do.
you have no power here, and Blake's like, yeah, watch this.
Yeah. No.
Exactly.
Adam's
I kind of feel like
Adam's strong. They just did him dirty in Volume 5. That's all it is. Like he's strong. They just did him dirty.
Yeah, I don't know. So I think that I don't know. That was one thing that kind of irritated me, but yeah, Blake's voice acting was not great in this. I'm also wondering, or I don't know, but yeah.
She also had a really dumb joke.
That doesn't look street legal. My headcanon right now is that that was her just once again trying to
That's
be
dumb.
friendly with Yang and stuff like
It's
that.
also
Like,
dumb that they
that
don't
doesn't
wanna
look
take the
street legal.
tractor.
I also
No.
hate that joke because as somebody who has been to places like Vermont where you can drive tractors on the street even if they're not registered and they're not street legal, but you're still allowed to drive them on the street. So that's a really dumb point. Doesn't matter if
She's
it's
just trying to. Like,
you're allowed
she's
to
just
drive
trying to-
tractors in rural areas on the street. So that's a dumb point.
I don't know. Maybe that's just Blake, like,
And who cares
trying
about
to have a
laws
sense of
whenever the
humor,
nearest
trying
law
to make
enforcement unit
Yang
is,
and
like, an
failing,
airship
but
right away.
But anyway, I like this scene overall though because I like that Yang is still mad at Blake. Yay! Thank you.
Wondering, is Adam actually out there, or was
they did two fucking things they had to do. She's still got some PTSD, and she's still mad at Blake. That's two things we've been like wondering about and complaining about for a while, and they did both in one scene. Fucking thank you.
Okay, so here's the thing about Adam. First of all, that fucking jump scare, bullshit.
I scare easily, and I did not find that scary.
Me neither.
I jumped a little because I wasn't really paying attention, and it was the noise that got me. I was like, wait, what the fuck was that? And I had to rewind and be like, okay, what did she say? Okay, she saw Adam.
I look forward to all the GIF edits of it too. They're gonna be great. Like the first one I saw was the guy with the white shirt standing that was photoshopped in. Oh, maybe next we'll have the Burger King foot lettuce one edited in too. Oh, that'll be good.
Okay, so this is actually more evidence that Adam actually was there on the train. Because
but isn't he wearing a different outfit this time though?
No,
he's wearing his old school outfit.
He's wearing the only outfit that Yang has seen him in.
Yeah, but I thought on the Blake one he was wearing a different outfit.
On the Blake one he is. On the Blake one he's wearing like a hood and stuff, wearing just stuff that we've never seen him wear.
Yeah.
Which is what hinted to me, include me into the fact that Adam was actually there and he probably just like jumped off the train because it's moving at like 80 miles per hour. All he would have had to do was take one step and he'd be gone. I hate when people are like, how did you get off the train so fast? Like, because it's going 80 miles per hour. That's how.
And there's snow to cushion his fall.
Yeah.
Seriously, we've seen him jump on and off trains before. It's nothing new.
He's fallen great distances onto stuff.
Yeah, he's a surprisingly
a
durable character.
Fall. He's fine.
But
anyway.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel.
I do think Adam is out there, and I think next time we see him, I think Cinder's going to recruit him. I think that'll actually be the next Cinder scene, as she's out, like following the train tracks, tracking down the train. Maybe she hears that it wrecked, and she's like, and she's investigating it, and then she runs into Adam along the way.
Yeah, no, I could see that, and I'd be fine with that. That would make sense.
I will say this: I don't think Cinder's going to catch up to them while they're at this Brunswick Farms. Like,
no, I don't think so.
No, yeah, because Cinder was all. Yeah, because Cinder because Melissa was like, oh yeah, they left a month ago, so like a couple weeks ago. So yeah, Cinder's not going to catch up with them while they're at this house. Otherwise, real continuity problem. But anyway.
Yeah, timelines and shit, guys, right?
But yeah, I could see like Cinder catching up to Adam. I think in episode 2 when they were talking about, that big guy that was them, I think she was actually talking about Adam. But yeah.
Didn't I say that like during that episode? Like, did I say like it could be Adam? It's probably Hazel, but no.
Maybe, yeah.
When she referred to that big guy, because Neo was looking for Cinder. Hazel was also looking for Team RWBY.
Team RWBY, yeah.
And that is how he knew. In last episode, when he's telling Salem that they're heading to Argus and trying to get to Atlas. That's how he knows.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Okay, never mind. Anyway, sorry, got us off track there, but yeah, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was an hallucination. Maybe it was actually.
So to exfoliate on what Dude was saying about Yang still being mad at Blake,
that was good. Yeah,
I really love how. Part of it is just my own personal bias because this is how I interpreted Yang. Is that
I know where you're going with this.
The most is being coddled.
Yeah.
She hated that before she hated that with Blake. She hated that in the first episode when Blake was like helping her with the bag, and she hated it in this episode too because she smiles when it's like we'll do it together.
That she was fine, and then
I protect you, and she's like,
yeah, I love that Blake is
you.
Yeah, I love that Blake is trying to.
Because that emotion gets across with no dialogue from Yang. So kudos to the animators to doing that facial and to actually like have her go from like smiling like yeah we'll face everything together to what do you mean you'll protect me?
Yeah,
all
what?
without like all
I don't
without,
need protecting you.
all without
Mama Yang does not need protecting.
Well, what I love about it is that it means that
all without spelling it out and giving the audience credit.
Yeah.
Well,
it shows.
All she says is what?
It's what's great is that it shows that that Blake is trying. Blake is trying to help.
Like,
sorry.
But what I
you got.
What I love is that Blake is trying to help, but she's completely missing the point, and I love that. I love that she doesn't even she can't even apologize right. She doesn't even know what she did wrong. That is what's great about it. She's missing the point completely. She doesn't understand why Yang is so upset. She still doesn't get it.
And to be fair with Yang is just happy that she's there.
Yeah, but she's still. But then she keeps fucking up. She keeps fucking up, and she keeps like caught. So I think the thing is that the thing is that as far as what pretty sure the obvious thing is that Yang is upset that Blake left and didn't isn't there to. Sorry, excuse me. Be there for her after the fact, whereas Blake thinks she wants protection, which is bullshit, and Yang doesn't think she needs that. Whether she does or not is not the point. She wants.
Yang doesn't need protecting. She just needs her friends there.
The thing is, I'll get to what I was about to say in a minute. I'm gonna finish what I was about to say before I gave dude the floor. Because after Yang's like, what? After she does that facial turn, that face turn, Blake is confused. She's like, wait, what? Is something wrong?
Yeah, I love that. Exactly, and I love that Blake is.
The Yang doesn't want to bother people with her problems. She's just like, it's nothing. I'm just tired.
Blake still thinks she's more important than she is, and it's finally coming back in her face. And it's glorious. It is glorious. She thinks she needs to protect Yang. She thinks she can protect Yang. And it's blowing up in her face that that's the way she thinks. That she still thinks she's that important. And it's blowing up in her face. And the writers are making it blow up in her face. And I love it. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this has always been part of Yang's personality.
Mm-hmm.
This goes back to like why I wrote her the way I did in RWBY on, and why I
was about to mention that
on RWBY.
I was about to mention that.
There's a bit in RWBY on Veil where RWBY has basically become kind of OP. She's the she gets the Spring Maiden powers, and she becomes way stronger than any of her teammates. And she starts trying to like kind of pay it forward. Be like, you protected. She goes to Yang, it's like, you protected me my entire life, and now I get to protect you. And Yang is just not having any of that, and it causes a rift, a temporary rift in the entire team because they get in a massive fight over it.
He's
and
Yang's
it's something and it's something I've wanted for a while now too. Like something that I talked about a little while ago, I think even last week maybe, was the possibility of Yang becoming the Spring Maiden would be really interesting because then she'd be the one that everyone's trying to protect, and that is just totally new ground for her. That is completely like uncharted territory for her, having other people protect her. She's always been the protector. She's the one who's always had RWBY's back, and now all of a sudden people are trying to protect her, and that is just really new to her, and it's not something that she wants. So yeah,
no, she's the mama.
So I thought this was good and stuff like that, and also it probably, it probably brings into the fact that she really doesn't want people to protect her. Like she wants to feel like she can still take care of herself, because it makes her feel helpless. If other people are having to protect her, that makes her feel helpless. So
feeling helpless,
like she was the first time she fought Adam. So
Feeling helpless is just going to aggravate her arm. She's going to think about it more and get more depressed and just spiral into nothing.
yeah,
And then she's be like, man, I need to go to sleep, and then dies.
Yeah, let's not do that to my character.
Her desire to protect Ruby is what motivated her in her flashback back in Volume 2 to slow down on her search for Raven and take things slowly and not put freaking Ruby at risk with her recklessness.
And her drive to protect Ruby also drove her to actually like, put on the freaking arm. And
Yeah, because it was when she realized that like Ruby's not getting reinforcements because everyone's just
stuck.
trying to watch over her.
Never mind the fact that Tai Yang still hasn't shown up in this show, but whatever.
No, it was...
yeah.
Yeah,
it still works. It still works, though. I don't really care that much. It's just making fun. I don't like Tai Yang, so I'm actually totally fine with him not being here.
I actually liked the idea that he would have liked to go with Yang.
Yes.
But he let Yang make the decision to go off on her own. So that, because he knows that she'd be bothered if he's there, like, protecting her. And so he has faith in her. He has faith that, like, she's actually ready to take this on herself.
Yeah. Could you imagine how awkward it would be if he actually went with her and just both of them in Raven's camp, just like, hey, honey, what's up?
Hi. Now, thanks. Another reason to hate Volume 5.
Damn it. Shouldn't have opened my mouth.
Yeah.
What was it? Because I think that's...
No, you have the Weiss and RWBY scenes.
The Weiss and RWBY scene was really good, too, because that had one of my favorite... The other favorite part of this episode, which was Weiss actually looks like she's being affected by whatever's going on, because I thought that was pretty obvious. Because she seemed weird, man, and
she was shell-shocked.
They animated that well, and Kara did a good job delivering it in the right way. I think that actually was pretty effective, of like her seeming like kind of drunk or something, like, or whatever it was that when Weiss was talking to Ruby near the end.
Where she's tired and she's kind of
she really hates.
Yeah, kind of out of it, and she's also kind of shaken by what they've learned with Ozpin. It's good that they're having that continue to mean something and stuff like that. That she's like.
I think she was just looking for an excuse not to go to Atlas. I don't think she wants to actually give up on their mission overall, but she just does not want to go.
It's
back.
still nice to bring up that possibility though of Ruby having to convince people to do it.
Which goes into my theory about what the Grimm is, but we'll talk about that in a minute.
At the end, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I also like that they bring up like the whole Crow's a drunk thing, and she's actually concerned about it. It's nice to see that.
Yeah, Ruby's worried that he might.
Never actually brought this.
It's the first time she's ever brought that up, and I like that she's taking charge. She's doing something about something, which is nice.
Yeah,
and
we also have to talk about the real breakthrough in this scene is the shrimp flavored baked beans.
Oh God.
Were they really shrimp flavored?
They were
shrimp flavored. Yeah, they were shrimp flavored. It wasn't said. It was on the can. It was on the can.
Fucking lie.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds interesting.
I like Weiss's disgust at canned food, though. That's hilarious.
Oh, of course, I love that.
My goddamn rich girl.
Put enough salt on it, and it'll taste fine. I mean,
what I really loved about this scene, though, is the whole just Ruby has such a fucking just innocent face, and it's just very pure, but also at the same time it's pure meme material. She's just like, look at all the fucks I have.
Modeling the food.
Oh no. Okay.
Just Photoshop the can out. Look at all the fucks I have. There's nothing there.
Here's something interesting.
I remember.
Wait, everyone, I have to stop. So obviously, the cellar's sex dungeon in the bottom of the cellar that's locked up for obvious reasons is where the monster's probably hiding at.
Yeah.
And Weiss and RWBY purposely decide to withhold the information that room even exists in there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you feel on the opinion of if RWBY and Weiss catch some flack whenever things start going down about not bringing up the creepy sex dungeon cellar in the bottom of this house?
I'd be good with
because it was full of alcohol and drunk will grow. Obviously.
Well, that's obviously that would be the initial thing, though. But then, if it's like, oh, well,
I mean, they think it's just a wine cellar, so they might feel a little.
I don't think that's gonna. I don't think that's gonna be a thing. I don't think it's gonna happen. I'd be fine with if they did draw attention to that, but I don't think they're going to. I don't
think that's really their fault.
Yeah.
Is it's like, oh, they figure, oh, it's just a wine cellar. Oh, so I remember watching that scene where they.
Especially
Come on, girls. Horror movie 101. Don't open the creepy cellar. And they did. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Actually, I've got a point. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I also like that. The other thing is that Weiss is already clearly being affected by whatever's going on, so it's hard to blame her at this point.
I think Yang is too.
Yeah. So exactly. So I think it's a little, and they were the first ones to see the dead bodies. I don't know if that matters, but
I personally think it does.
I think it does too. Yeah.
I was writing.
Who pointed that out first? Because I didn't point that out first. Sock did.
I
Media.
Oh, Media did. That's a good point.
Maybe it's like, maybe that's how it works. It's like not everyone like everyone in the village, like they saw the two people saw the two dead bodies. They went to sleep.
No, people like maybe saw bodies elsewhere, like in the cellar or something.
Yeah.
And then it spread from there.
Actually, I've got. I mean, this obviously this because someone said something earlier about like kind of like drunk. However, what if this like Grim is like kind of radiating like a drunken stupor, like you know, like Power, like if you drink too much, you get really fucking sleepy and you just pass out.
It's putting up a debuff.
Yeah, like you're getting like it's like
You're
radiating
walking
from
into
certain
the plague
things.
zone in Dark Souls, and you're. Just,
I mean, like who knows? Like have a glass of like this town obviously is known for its wine or whatever.
Oh, that would be cool too.
Yeah,
also.
they drink the wine and they go to bed and they just die.
So what I think they could do could be interesting is they could bring back something from like volumes 1 through 3. Is their scrolls like Yang or Weiss's scrolls starts chirping at them, and then they're like, "Why is my aura being slowly depleted? What's going on here?"
Yeah, like yes.
Like as a way that they could like slowly start building tension, and then they have to like figure out what's going on.
That'd be cool.
Racing against the clock.
That'd be pretty
I feel
awesome.
that could be something too.
Yeah.
Where. Because we've only seen Grim now that basically just run at you like, you know, like
Animals.
the Tyranids from Warhammer 40k. Like, we don't have any Grim that's like a parasitic Grim that like creeps in somewhere and then just like solely like drains out everyone's life force. I mean, it could be like a spider Grim, or like hell, like, you know, even it could be like a tick Grim, like, oh, we should have pulled off the covers, and like they noticed that like there's like this big huge mark on like their foot or something where like all the life juice was sucked out of them.
Oh,
So I mean,
I kind of want it to be a spider Grim just for Kaito Den to freak out.
But I feel like
my theory is still that it's some sort of like Freddy Krueger Pennywise type of situation, Grim. And maybe you're right that like it did infect Weiss and Yang, but like my theory is that basically they go to sleep and it's one of those Matrix type things where like it, you know, kills them in their sleep, takes the form of like their
like Willie in that episode of The Simpsons. In The Simpsons
kind
Halloween.
of, yeah, that like it takes the form of like their
He's
worst fears
like-
or something like that.
no,
Yeah.
well,
I don't know,
it'd be
but like, and
interesting
like,
if,
but like, I think it, and like, I think because I think that would be a pretty interesting, like, I don't know, and we've kind of already seen glimpses of this. This is why I think probably what it's gonna be
also
is
a
that
good
it's
excuse for them to use the silver eyes.
yeah,
If
but also
Grandma's
like
a silver
it-
eye warrior.
maybe, but like I think it could go and basically like take the fears with with Weiss it could be, you know, being trapped back in her family home possibly, and like with Yang it could be, you know, like she's being chased by Adam and she's lost both of her arms and stuff like that, so she's completely helpless to fight him and stuff like that. Like just those kinds of things. Maybe Ruby's bit like I think it would be
Roman
really
stuff.
interesting.
Like
Yeah, like Ruby's biggest fear is
because
like,
like, this is whole like
is
she
that,
already
like,
knows something's wrong
everyone
with this
she-
place.
yeah, or maybe it's that like everyone that Ruby loves or cares about is dead or something like that, and like it's her fault or something. Like she's stuck by Penny and Pyrrha, basically saying "You let us die" or something.
Or Ruby
And so, like-
envisions herself getting hit by an arrow and then just
Yeah.
being like, you know, burnt alive.
Yeah,
I mean-
but I think that could be really cool if it's like, but like, I don't know. What I want from this whole thing, this is like thinking way forward, but like that, this grim basically infects them. They all experience their worst fears and stuff like that. And, Team Junior shows up and saves them and stuff like that, kills them before it can kill them in their sleep. But then they kind of all, learn some things about themselves and kind of have to deal with that for the rest of the volume. Like you said, it hopefully won't take more than 2 episodes for them to get out of here, but I would like it if, they're kind of dealing with the internal struggle, like Ye's dealing with the fact that, I'm scared of being helpless, and I don't know how to ask for help. Weiss is dealing with, I'm going back home, and I really don't want to be like that. Also, again, I want Whitley to be an interesting character. Like maybe Weiss deals with this nightmare of being trapped in her family's home again, and Whitley is all, yeah. Is it any surprise I turned and an apparition of Whitley is all yeah. Is it any surprise I turned out the way I did when you left me in this hell and stuff like that? But anyway, so she's dealing with the fact that she has to go home, but also that she has to, that she left her little brother to suffer and stuff like that. Again, just that little thing. I want more backstory on Whitley. I don't know why. And RWBY deals with the fact that am I leading the people I care about to their deaths? Am I, maybe she really starts doubting herself, kind of like what Weiss brought up here. So anyway, just those things. I think that would be a really cool idea. But
I think I like that idea a lot. I also like what High Power's idea was too. I think either way, what I would really like to see is I would like the next episode to just be that thing. I would just like it to be the horror stuff, nothing else.
Yeah, just be the horror stuff.
Which I think it is. I think it is because they gave us the villain, like the Legion of Doom, the previous episode, and they gave us Cinder this episode. So I do think that is what's going to happen. I like that. I just wanted to be focused on whatever the horror thing is going on. So that means that it won't take any longer than next episode or the episode after at the latest, which I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, next episode is episode 6, and that's always the catalyst for things to actually start happening.
Yeah. So next episode is probably going to be some sort of horror thing. Probably going to continue into episode 7, and then episode 7 will probably end with
a resolution.
Team Junior waking them all up and being all like, "Hey, you guys are okay. We him that was, infecting you."
I'm still firmly not of the opinion that it's going to be Team Junior, that Junior's popping up. I really don't think that's going to happen.
You really don't think so?
Or maybe maybe Maria Calavera reveals her rising,
kills the Grim.
And X-Size is the demon.
I think it's got to be one of those two things. I do think there's.
She's got spiritual chocolates.
Her role in this show is to be the mystical Hispanic lady from the freaking fuck, what am I even thinking of?
I don't know what you're talking about.
The Paranormal Activity. That's what I'm thinking. The freaking Spanish lady in that, and even in the Poltergeist. I'm pretty sure the ghost expert or whatever was either Asian or Spanish. I don't remember because it's been 10 years since I've seen that movie. But she's basically gonna be that person. She's gonna be that character.
She just exercises ghosts and spirits with these holy water chocolates, just.
She
throws chocolates at the ghosts.
No. She doesn't throw chocolate. She busts out her flip flops. And just starts beating at the ghost with it, like any Hispanic mom or grandma would do.
Is that those
are chocolates?
Those are chocolates.
You're talking about chocolates.
Yeah, the chocolates.
I don't know the Spanish or you know what I mean. But no, I think
no, Jake, no, dude, no, exactly what you just said.
Wrong word. But
I could either. I think that is probably more likely. Although I would actually be fine with it being Junior because I do want them back. Because hey, they're actually main characters too, and I want them in the show.
Yeah. I think.
Either way, though, it's
we could argue about this for a little bit. There's only.
I think in order to keep the tension that they built in this episode, it needs to be the horror thing needs to be the
main point,
entirety of the next episode.
Yes, I agree with that. That's what I said. Yeah, that is true.
I don't think they should have anything breaking up that tension.
No, I don't mean I want Junior their scene in it. No, I would not want that. I don't want to see what they're.
That's why I said episode 7 and
Yeah.
And it's just all we see of them is them waking them up and hey, we killed it. But yeah.
No, that's why I said next episode. I only want it to be.
About halfway through the volume, they'll be.
Yeah, it has to be the entirety of the episode because there's so much to cover. Like you've got Crow stuff, you've got wife stuff, you've got Yang and Blake stuff.
Oh, what would be an interesting
RWBY stuff
too? Oh wait, I just thought up of an interesting twist.
What's that?
What if Cinder and Neo and them find them and they accidentally save them because whenever they show up, the Grimm's like, "Yay, new victims!" And then it diverts its attention.
They'd have been asleep for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, that'd be too long. That wouldn't make sense timeline wise.
True.
Yeah, that's why I was saying that. Yeah, Cinder's not gonna find them at the farm.
What I would like is if Roman and Neo are like related to this farm and they're following the trail and Neo just go, no, not this place, and because it'll be confirmed if she finds that doll or whatever.
But does it really matter though?
No, it doesn't. But it's a good flavor thing.
I think it's
unnecessary.
I would argue that that's unnecessary.
The only other idea that I would have would be that the huntsman that was in the family portrait maybe returns to check up on the property.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I'd rather have
then
it.
that would be introducing another random character.
Yeah, as I say, I'd prefer it to be.
Not only that, but it's a blizzard, and if someone is traveling to check in, then why don't Team RWBY and them just do the same thing and check out?
Yeah.
For real, if there's no reason for them to be there if it's okay enough for someone to travel in.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I don't think that makes sense. It has to either
be... The
whole
reason they're staying there is because they'd freeze to death if they tried traveling.
It's probably... Or, maybe the girls themselves figure out how to beat it, but it's either that, Maria, or Junior. I
want to bring up the third option that might be even worse that I'm worried about that they might actually pull.
What?
So here's the third option is once the weird shit starts happening, Ozpin comes out of the doghouse just to give a warning to only go back into the doghouse.
I made a mention of that actually in my review for last week's episode. And I think I mentioned in the podcast too, the only way they could fuck up what they set up with Ozpin last week is if he just shows back up and saves the day soon.
Yeah.
And I really don't want that to be absolutely terrible.
I would be okay if he just appears, it says, "Hey, there's a really dangerous Grimm here," and it goes back into the doghouse.
No, I would not be okay with that.
Nobody gives a fuck because it's him.
I would not be okay with that.
That would mean that he's still there enough to watch and take over anytime he wants.
Yeah.
I don't want him to even know what's going on right now.
Yeah, I don't think he does.
So deep in the doghouse that he has no idea what's even going on outside.
Yeah, because that only makes sense for him to completely lock himself and seal himself away.
Yeah, that's what they said. That wouldn't make then why would they say that if he's not locked away? That's dumb.
Yeah. Ozpin's too busy playing his underwater fourth dimension intergalactic chess.
This was another option, and I think it was High Power. It might have been Secure that brought this up the other day about what could be in the basement. Because we already discussed Grimm, and we even made.
I brought up the idea of a person with a fucked up semblance.
Yeah. So I guess it was Secure that said, what if it's a seemingly normal person that's in the cellar who gives them the story that he survived by locking himself in the basement and staying up for days on end and stuff like that, and it's there's something not right about him, but RWBY and her naivety welcomes him and tries to help him out and stuff, but then it turns out that he's like Cinder. He's actually got Grimm parts and stuff because the Grimm is using him to get to them.
Yeah, pretty much.
That wouldn't work with my main theory, which is that it's spreading through contact with the dead bodies, and Weiss and Yang are already affected.
So it's the Dunwich horror.
This would be another option.
Yeah.
I guess it could be the same because there's something physical in the basement. It's not just in their head, so maybe the mental stuff spreads through contact with the dead bodies, and then the thing in the basement comes to feed. once they're asleep, sucks out all their freaking juices or something. Maybe
and that's kind of why I want to bring up like.
Yeah.
That's kind of why I want to bring up like the whole I think the whole slowly draining aura thing could be a good plot device that they could use, because like it might not have been able to, like, let's say it only affected like Weiss and Yang because it only had enough strength to infect those two. Well, everyone else's aura was basically still like at full. It couldn't infect everyone else. And then Maz Kanata and Oscar didn't even like go up to the room.
Nope.
So, and then there might be some interesting stuff going on too. Like the book that she grabs is like a fairy tale that may have some relationship to that's like what will happen like during the episode.
Well, there's like two
just being
books
like,
that stood out.
hint.
Yeah. There was like 2 books that stood out. Like actually, it's like
there was a book with the Roman numeral 1, and then there was a book with like a bunch of scrolly lion shit on it.
Yeah, it's like you don't just.
Excuse me.
Like,
You're excused.
Bye.
Peace.
Are you okay, Akar?
No, Robert said I was excused. So
Oh.
I'm
No,
gonna
because you
excuse myself.
burped. I was being polite.
I know.
Damn
I'm just playing along with it too hard. So now I'm gonna go porch post.
I mean this would probably go in like funny podcast moments if I was gonna do another video, like, which I'm not. I don't want to take that.
I don't know how long that took you to do that first one. Probably a long time.
Oh, I worked on it a little bit here and there for weeks.
Yeah.
Re-listening to the podcast, selecting the ones, putting in the text and stuff, and yeah.
I mean, either way, I like where they're going with this. I don't think Osquin's going to do anything. It doesn't seem like they're not hinting towards something like that. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I'm giving them more credit right now because so far they haven't truly disappointed me this volume. Because, like I said, the biggest problem I had with this whole volume so far was Ozpin not being to blame enough in episode 3, which didn't even matter because they're still pissed at him. So I don't even care that he didn't even do anything wrong. All I care is that they're still mad at him and he's not leading them, and that's exactly what they're doing right now. So, and they brought, Yang showed some PTSD with I don't know if Adam's actually there or not, but clearly she's freaked out, she's shaking, she still has issues there, and that felt organic, it didn't feel forced, and her interaction with Blake was really great. They're doing a lot of stuff that they needed to do, so I'm going to be positive right now, and I don't think they're going to do something stupid like have Ozpin help them. I think it's going to be Maz Kanata, the characters themselves actually figuring it out, or Junior, and I'm fine with any of those 3. I think any of those 3 can work depending on how they do them. So, and the biggest thing that needs to happen is, I think the premise is good enough that whatever is the monster or the Grim or whatever will be interesting, because they've already surpassed my expectations, because I was already happy that it was going to be a horror episode, and I'm already happier because this is already more interesting than I thought they were going to go for the horror angle. So they're already doing better than I expected. So I'm already happy with whatever they do, probably. They just need to make the next episode all about whatever this horror plot is, and only that. It's not whether about how long it is, just needs to only be that for the next episode. And
if you do horror, you got to do it right.
Yeah, so that's really the most important thing. And I think they are. I'm guessing the way they set it up, it does seem like they're going to do that. It's the thing that makes sense, and lately they've been doing the things that make sense. So I have no reason to really doubt them right now, which is great.
So,
it feels nice to be able to say that.
Yeah.
Let's get into some of the emails before we go into like whatever theory crafting we want to do if we haven't already done it
Emails as in
already.
plural? Nice.
So, the first one that we got is a little bit on the long side, but I'm going to
just read it.
I'm going to read it. So I'm going to read it verbatim. So, okay. This is from a Ralph. I'm not going to say your last
read it verbatim, including any spelling errors they have.
Oh, God.
I'm not completely sure if this is the email where I send in questions for the podcast. Fortunately for you, this is the email. But oh well. I apologize for bringing up shipping again, but I honestly find Lancaster very possible.
Yes.
Where
Well,
the ship
yeah.
is going, at this point,
Yeah.
the main motivator for John in the last 3 volumes is Pyrrha's death. And I have to wonder how far that point in his character will be taken. Question mark. At some point, comma, it is to become, it has to become bland and undynamic, period. What I think would be interesting would be Ruby and John getting together, is that it gives a transition to John's main motivator that feels fluid. Comma, he's going from grieving over someone caring deeply, in brackets, and subsequently protecting because of that past grief. John has to cope with the idea of having yet another romantic relationship be on the front lines of potential disaster again, period. This arc would end with him realizing he can't protect everyone, and for him to let go of that negative fear of losing another person who's close to him, period. I might just have been trying to justify Lancaster to myself. I enjoy the pairing so much, but I don't know. Question mark. Do you think it's more likely that Ruby doesn't have a relationship or Lancaster happens? Period. Oh no, question mark.
Yeah, I like to think that Lancaster will happen, but I could totally see Ruby not ending up with anyone at the end.
Yeah.
But if she ends with someone, Lancaster is my OTP. And as far as Jean's motivation, I'm not sure where Jean goes from here. I think I even said this in our Volume 6 predictions. I'm not quite sure where Jean goes from here. We have his semblance now. We have like his team. We have Rin and Nora. Their whole like dirty laundry thing. The only thing left for them to do is actually like
Fucking
start
Have
make
kids.
out and have kids, which is why I keep saying they should have kids in the show. It'd be good. Makes sense.
In that exact order, you don't have sex in Remnant, you just make out and have kids.
Yeah.
Hand holding and kissing
Oh my
leads
God.
to babies.
Yeah, as we know.
don't have sex.
But-
It the hand holding, and hand holding is lewd.
It's true.
And also, and on top of that, you got his frustrations with Cinder kind of aired out after Volume 5. I don't know where they go with Jean after this. I want him to stick around. I like his dynamic with Ruby, and I like Rin and Nora just fine. And I would even like to see them play up some dynamics between them and the other people in Team Ruby. I want to see more just differing character dynamics, because I think that makes for a good ensemble cast. When a good ensemble cast type show, when you can have like a wiki that has like the character and then an entire tab just for relationships, and it like just chalks up like dozens of characters within the cast, and it's all like unique dynamics that they have without breaking character, without it being a completely different person depending on who they're around. Which, depending on the character, that could actually be in character for them to be a completely different person depending on who's around, because there's people who are actually like that. I'm kind of one of them.
I think.
I like Lancaster. Sorry, go ahead, dude.
No, go ahead first. I'll go last. That's fine.
Okay. So yeah, I do like Lancaster, and I would like to see it. I do think that seeing John try to seeing like that dynamic of, Jean lost someone who cared deeply for him and stuff like that before, and dealing with the fact of, can I, love someone who I might end up losing and stuff like that. I think that would be good. As far as where like Jean's character goes from here and stuff like that, I think that's part of why like Sock and I kind of like the idea of Jean turning out to be like, Ozpin and Salem's descendant and stuff like that, because, that conflict of, what am I, what does this mean about who I am, about my potential and stuff like that. I think that would be interesting, but I also do think that like, I think it would be nice to see them keep treating him like a, just making him a good subplot character, someone who has similar desires and goals to Ruby, seeing him also struggle with leadership and, struggle with like the worth of his goals and stuff like that. Like if he finds out the truth about Ozpin and is all like, and kind of deals with the fact of, wow, Pyrrha kind of died for nothing. Yeah. And again, like I was talking about earlier, Ruby's greatest fear might be that she leads a bunch of people to their deaths for nothing. Maybe Jean also addressed the possibility that he might lead, Ren and Nora to their deaths for nothing and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think there's some interesting places that they can still go with Jean. But yeah, it's a good question. Like, where is he going? So, yeah.
Okay, so here's the next question.
Oh no, hold on. I still want to.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I want to answer this question. So I think the person who's asking this question, I think the fears are a little misplaced because the show's not perfect and the writers obviously aren't perfect. But if there's one thing they've proven is they do actually, they really have thought of a lot of this show out from the beginning, and they do have a lot of ideas that they still haven't even implemented. So the idea of like Jean not having motivation or not being in the show anymore, I think is a completely unfounded fear.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere.
He's not going anywhere, so I wouldn't worry about that. The other thing I think, just personally, this is my opinion, not to be rude, but the person, again, who asked this question, I don't personally even think... I think there's a little bit of misconception there. I don't think that Jean's main motivation has been Pyrrha's death. I think that's what he said. I don't think that's been his main motivation for the past 3 volumes. I think that's been something that's been in his head. I definitely think he's thinking about it. I definitely think it's...
First
but
of all,
I don't think it's his main motivation.
There's only been 2 full volumes.
Either way, whatever. His main motivation was RWBY. So, if anything, that's just further proof for Lancaster because he went to help RWBY because of RWBY at the end of Volume 3, and then obviously from Volume 4. Yeah, he's still sad about Pyrrha's death, but RWBY was his motivation, and he very clearly stated that in Volume 4 in the Lancaster scene in the middle of the Renora episode, Koroyuri. That was one of the best scenes with them, was him, reassuring her and saying that she's the reason why he's there, and they want to be there for her. So that's why Ren and Nora and Jean will keep being in the show because of that. That was very deliberate, and that's a good example of how Lancaster would make sense. Now, in terms of the chances of them ending up together, I think it's 50-50. I think it's either RWBY ends up with Jean or RWBY ends up with nobody. Yeah. And I think either one could work. I think it's more likely. Personally, I don't think it makes sense if she ends up with nobody because I think it's very obvious that this world makes sense with people actually. It doesn't make sense for the world as much to me. And I think Lancaster is actually kind of good, but I wouldn't, if they do, it could make, I think it's something that happens at the very end based on the way they're slowly pacing any relationship with RWBY out at all, which is Jean's the closest thing she has to a chance at any relationship, and it's been very, very slow, and there's really been nothing that you could truly call romantic between them yet. There's definitely character moments between them for sure that you could definitely use as like logic for a ship between them, but there's not been anything that's like truly relationship relationship status like there has been with Black Sun or with Arcos or even with Renora. So
yeah, that's the thing about the Lancaster though. It's like it's those of us who ship it. It's an extreme long con. Like
and that's fine, and I think that's okay.
It's an end game thing that we're looking for. Yeah.
Unlike Renora, which needs to fucking happen already. Jesus Christ! Sorry, I have to inflict that into everything, but it's true. So I think it's different than that. That's why I think that's one of the reasons I think Renora should happen now is because I want to have some sort of romance and relationship going on, and then you can have Lancaster happen eventually. So I do think maybe it's 60-40 that Lancaster's going to happen. I think it's over 50% chance that Lancaster will happen.
Yeah, Lancaster isn't implausible, but we've all basically come to the agreement that it's a long con ship.
Yeah,
like this is something that they will do.
It's a long run,
in the last 2 seasons of the series.
Yeah, if you're a Lancaster shipper, you're basically like a Nar Ohina shipper. You're gonna have to wait. You're gonna have to wait and rub it in everybody's faces at the end.
You know what's not gonna happen? Rose Garden.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Nope.
The writers, I think, have proven this volume that they are smart enough to not do something that's stupid. That doesn't make any fucking sense whatsoever. Yep. It just doesn't. It's just we've gone through it before about how absolutely horrendous of a ship it is.
Even the guys on like the RWBY Rewind are saying like, yeah, it's just a big sister type thing.
Yeah, and
By
so
the way, Ruby Rewind's actually been kind of okay from what I've seen.
I
They're
haven't-
actually
I haven't
Well,
watched it. I'll
it's
leave
probably
it up
because
to-
this volume's actually been okay. I think that's. I think
I
that's
do think that's part of it. Yes, is that they're actually talking about things
about
and they don't have to
yeah,
pretend that this volume. Yeah, they don't have to pretend that this volume isn't crap.
yeah, exactly. Because
So that's probably part of it, and also they're getting some actually pretty okay questions from like the Twitter crowd. But anyway,
next question then,
okay.
Hypard.
okay, so here's the next question. This one's a shorter question. This is from Professor LS, who I believe is a member. Oh, wait, no. Hold a second. Yeah. So he says, on a scale of 1 to 10, how dead would you feel the inside if Rooster Teeth listened to the SJW crowd and made Bumblebee and Right Rose canon instead of more quote-unquote logical ships?
If they make one of them canon, I would want it to be Bumblebee, and I'd be fine with that. If they make both of them canon, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would probably be a 4. As like 10 being the maximum dead inside. 4, I'd just be mildly annoyed and disappointed.
I'd be like
Yeah,
a
I'd
3.
be
It
a
hurts a little
5.
bit on the smiley scale.
yeah, I'd be a
of the
5,
hospital.
just like, oh wow, you got. Yeah, I'd be a 5, just like, oh, okay, you guys went with the E one. You're really brave there, guys. No, you're not. So,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't really care.
Okay, like if they do, the thing is, if they do just Bumblebee, it would be a 1. If
Yeah.
they do both, it would be a 4. If they do just White Rose, it would be more like a 6 or a 7.
That's true.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's what I-
like,
that's
what I
why
was gonna
this
say.
one?
What if they did Freezer Burn?
Freezer burn, I'd be a 1.
We
'cause
like
that's-
Freezer
We like
Burn.
Freezer burn.
What are you talking about, man?
What are you talking
We
about? Do
spent
you
last-
know us at all?
We spent
We
last episode.
stand freezer burn here, man.
I thought we spent last episode talking about how we like Freezer burn.
Yeah.
Didn't we? Did we?
Yeah, we spent a good portion of that.
Yeah. So yeah, for me, it would be if it's just Bumblebee, a 1, because I think they have. I know people like to say there's no hint of that at all. No, they have done things that you
There's
could use.
chemistry.
There is chemistry there. I would be a 1 if they did Bumblebee. Actually, no, I'd be a 2. I'd be a 2 if they did Bumblebee, because now I ship Freezer Burn more than Bumblebee. So I'd be a 2. If they did Freezer Burn, I'd be a 1/0, because Freezer Burn would be great. And if they did just White Rose, I would be a 4, because at least it's not Rose Garden. And if they did both, I'd be a 5, because again, at least it's not Rose Garden.
For
Yeah, I'd be-
oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, yeah. So like again, yeah. If it was just Bumblebee, I'd be a 2. If it was both, I'd be a 5. And if it was just White Rose, I'd be a 6.
For me, if it was just Bumblebee, I would actually say about a 6. And for White Rose, about a 9.
Actually, real quick caveat too. It depends on if they did do Bumblebee. It would very much depend on how they did it, because they really, if it happens in this
That's
volume,
true. Yeah. Did they
if it
give
happens
Black
this
Sun
volume,
do at all? But-
I'll be a 10, and I technically still ship Bumblebee a bit. If they did it just this volume, I would be a 10, because that's bullshit. Because what happened to all the Black Sun stuff? I would be upset
Yeah, it
for the
would
Black
depend
Sun
on
shippers.
how they go about it.
Yeah.
Dude, watch it be like, because I'm actually seeing little bits of this. But what if Bumblebee is canon, but it's only one-sided? Like Blake likes Yang.
Oh, that's fine.
Blake
No, that's
likes
fine.
that way.
That's not canon.
Blake's just constantly following her, always looking towards her.
I mean, if,
I always hated the way you looked at other men, Yang.
what I'm saying is, like, if they get them actually together by the end of this volume, I'd be a 10.
Yeah,
on a scale of anger.
that's-
I'd be fine
that's
with
what you
them.
said.
I'd be fine with them truly starting to hint at it and showing somebody having interest in it and stuff like that. As long as because they have to address the
They
Black Sun
kind of
stuff.
are because of the whole.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
It's too soon
I'll
for that,
protect
though.
you thing, but
Yeah, but
no.
if they handle it well and it happens in probably really in volume 8 or 9, it becomes canon, like actually canon. I'd be fine with it. That's why I said I'd be a 1 or 2 for that, because they could make it happen because there is some precedent for it, but they can't just rush it. Whereas like,
Alright.
yeah. Anyway,
So so we could end this podcast on, if we want to do just a little scene where we could all take our time to if we were gonna do the next episode being the horror episode, how would we do it? If we want to do that for the last little bit, just to have fun with, because I don't think we've done the let's write the next episode on the podcast in a while, basically since Volume 4.
We haven't done that.
I'm not sure.
If you want to.
I do. Okay, so here's the thing. This is just my personal taste, and I know horror is something that's very subjective. Like it's more like in my opinion, it's more subjective than comedy, or as subjective as comedy, and it's, in my opinion, just as hard to actually pull off right. That's why all the worst movies in the world are either really bad comedies or really bad horror movies.
Yep, that is true.
Because it's so easy to just totally screw it up and make an absolute garbage fest out of those two genres.
So Will Ferrell
by Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what's funny? I can't stand Will Ferrell, but I find Adam Sandler funny.
I hate Will Ferrell more than Adam Sandler also, actually. I've had Will Ferrell and stuff.
Yeah, Will Ferrell's not funny. He's not funny.
He is not funny at all. His best movie
is cringe.
His best movie ever was Elf, where he's not even really being the same Will Ferrell.
I hate Elf.
I like
the
Elf.
only movie he's made that I liked was Megamind.
Oh, Megamind's okay, but he's just voice acting.
Yeah, he's just...
I think Will Ferrell has a better average movie than Adam Sandler, but Adam Sandler's best movies are better than the best Will Ferrell movies.
Yes, there you go.
But also
I will agree with that.
But also his worst are worse than Will Ferrell's worse, because Will Ferrell has a very consistent, or a much more consistent quality.
Well, because he just makes the same movie every fucking time.
Yeah.
By the way,
so,
Anchorman is overrated as fuck.
Yeah.
I just want to point that out. It's super overrated.
Yeah.
I just like the scene in the second Anchorman movie of the battle again, and then I think it's like Stonewall Jackson or Ulysses S. Grant gets summoned as a power.
Jackson.
Yeah, Stonewall Jackson is a power lich and sucks the soul out of someone. I died of laughter during that.
Anyway, so my taste in horror, I'm much more. I'm fascinated by monsters and stuff. Like everyone knows, I've said this numerous times. That's one of the reasons. That's one of the things I latched onto RWBY to begin with, was the Grimm. The Grimm were just a fascinating creature that had aspects of other monsters that I liked, and were also like just diverse designs and stuff, while also like maintaining its overall design ethos. But that's one of the things that I really latched onto early on in the series.
And before we start,
even before I actually got into it, but
before we start on the predictions or on the writing, big point we got to make is who's gonna get got first, if anyone's gonna get got.
That's Crow. That's Crow.
I'll get to that.
I guess define get got.
I have a different opinion than Crow. I am much more scared, like actually frightened of auditory stuff. Like if like cabinets are opening and shutting and chairs are floating poltergeist style, or things are like, or the walls are like caving in, or there's like actual ghosts going like, ooh. I'm completely unimpressed by that stuff. But when you start hearing, but when they're like talking and you hear like just really faint whispers in the background, and one of the character hears it and the other ones don't, and it starts like divide, like, am I actually hearing something, or am I going crazy? When you start doing stuff like that, that's what really gets to me. That's what I want. I want this Grimm. I'm going to assume it's a Grimm. To be... what is that?
That's one of my nieces.
Oh, and I want this Grimm to like really just start fucking with their heads, to really just get them all like scared and paranoid, make them think that they're going crazy, and then at the end, the most like level-headed people there, which would be, in my opinion, RWBY and Maria, are the last ones to be affected, and are the ones who actually like solve the issue. And to a lesser extent, Oscar. I could see Oscar even like contributing in this, and maybe even getting an actual moment himself. But as far as the first, I think Weiss and Yang are already infected, and I think Crow is going to be the next one. So I think Weiss is going to be the first because she's already like really spooked, whereas Yang's like bottling up a lot more. So I think Weiss is actually going to be the first one to get got, and she's going to get hurt. She's going to like go like comatose, and that's when things are really going to start hitting the fan. Is when she goes is when she goes down, when she passes out, and the life just starts draining from her, and they have to like find out what's going on, what's doing this, and kill it before Weiss dies. And then they start just dropping like flies. Like Yang goes after that because she's trying to like bottle up, so she's trying to like take charge and be like the shield, and she just ends up getting wrecked by whatever's. I don't even want them to see the Grim until like the end.
Yeah.
Until the end, I don't even want to see the Grim until the end. I
kind of want the Grim to be
shot.
like.
I don't want a single shot where you see the entire Grim. I want to only see like bits and pieces of it, depending on the camera angle and depending on what's going on.
Kind of like the Knucklevi, where we only saw like the horse head and then like the twitching part of the.
Well, until the finale where they showed it off in all its glory.
I kind of want the Grim to turn out to just be like some sort of like Envy's real form in Full Metal Alchemist and stuff like that. Like when they actually see it. Yeah, exactly. When they actually see it, it's just totally pathetic and stuff like that. But like, it's just been fucking with their heads. Yeah.
I want so Weiss is going to be the first because she's already infected. She's already like scared and stuff. So it's just going to like knock her out and start draining the life from her. And then Yang is next because she's going to try bull rushing it, and maybe even have Blake instigate that, where Blake's like, everyone like Yang stay back, and Yang's like, I ain't staying back. I'm taking care of this now. And then she gets got, and then maybe have Blake and then Crow goes after that, like because the like whatever it is escapes, and then gets to like where Crow is because Crow's all alone. He doesn't have anyone there to help him out, so it just wrecks.
Yeah, like Blake,
and then they find him passed out in like the hallway or something, and then it's like, oh man, the three of us are down, and the our biggest gun is down now. Like, what are we going to do? And RWBY is forced to like really take charge after that.
Oh, and what if they start debating like, oh, are we gonna ask Jin what's going on?
Yeah. Oh, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
They debate it. They debate it for a second.
Yeah, maybe one of them wants to waste the question on that, and then maybe that's when Maria starts going all magical, mystical, Hispanic archetype on the show. It's like, no, I have seen this before.
I've heard rumors.
I have no idea what accent I am doing. But
You're doing a French accent, and it's really bad. It's like, no, you're way off the mark, dude. You're on the wrong side of the world right now.
But yeah, like I've seen this before. I know how to counteract this. That's what I want. That's what I would do if I were writing this scenario.
Well, I mean, they could also do the whole thing, I mean, it would depend if, like, because the whole Maria's, like, little theme or whatever, it's, like, because the whole, like, the Calaveras, she's named after a god of death, like, if she can actually communicate with the dead, like, maybe, like, the dead could give them a clue on where this entity is.
All right, I guess I'll go then. So one thing that I'm confused about that I think that I'm kind of theorizing possibly different than everybody else is that I'm wondering if the thing in the basement isn't what is causing all of this, because it doesn't make sense that it's chained off because everybody's dead. So how could they have chained it off into the basement, and how could it have still killed everybody? That doesn't really make sense.
That's why I'm saying its powers are like psychological.
Yeah.
Like it only has to physically like finish them off, but it's actually like attacking them mentally from the basement, and that's the mystery, is that they had to like find out where this is coming from.
Okay, that could make sense.
And then they find like RWBY, Oscar. By that point, RWBY, Oscar, Maria, and Blake are the only ones left by the time they figure out like we need to check the basement. That's the only place we haven't checked yet.
I could see that. I was just small outside chance that whatever's in the basement is not what's actually causing this. I just want to throw that out there. Yeah. Small outside chance. I'm not saying like it's a big thing. I think it could actually be possibly a survivor. I wouldn't really like that, but I think it's possible, or it's just like another Grimm or something, and it's something else is causing this. But I think more than likely what media's saying is probably right. I do like I want it to be like a mental thing, and it's just somehow getting them all to fall. Basically, otherwise I just want what media said to happen, because I like the idea of everybody having to drop like flies, and then that would add a lot of tension, and then RWBY and Maria are probably the only ones that can really do anything about it, and would be interesting for RWBY to do that. So yeah. Either way, I'm excited. I already made my points about what needs to happen, so
yeah.
I think the only things that I would add is, like, I would definitely maybe like some minor poltergeist stuff, like, oh, like, we're gonna go, like, open these, like, we're gonna make dinner, and then, like, they go back and look, and, like, all the cans are gone that they were gonna, like, use to make dinner with, or like, they open up the can and, like, all the stuff's in there, like, is spoiled or something. But that's me in, like, my 40k lore, and it's like, Nurgle's infecting everything here, and everyone's already sick.
Yeah.
It will be interesting. I definitely think I'm now agreeing with media that Weiss could definitely be the first person to get got, which I'm sorry I didn't explain what getting got means, but I think we all figured it out.
Yeah.
I feel like I definitely do like the idea, though, like, once people start dropping like flies, that it becomes like a desperate race to figure it out. I do hope that they bring up, like, that one thing too. It's like they start, like, their scrolls start chirping that they're like, oh wow, it's like our ores are like really low for some reason, but we haven't been like fighting. It's like, sure, we're like tired and exhausted from being thrown off a train and walking around in this cold weather, but I do also like the idea. I could honestly interchange Crow being the first one to get got. Maybe especially if they find him out, like, whenever they go to, like, check the grounds again, they find him, like, collapsed over in a building, and he's, like, already starting to get frostbite and stuff. So there could be that, but I definitely feel like they need to, like, we don't need to see the monster next episode, but we need to kind of see the monster next episode at least.
Yeah.
And then they need to resolve the issue by the episode after that. Like, halfway through the episode, it needs to be resolved.
Yeah.
But that's basically like, for the type of Grimm, like, I'd be cool if it was like a parasite Grimm. But then yeah, that also brings up a good question, like, oh, it's locked from the outside to keep something in. But then there's like the well, and the OP hasn't been lying to us too hard, so like, I mean, hey, who knows? Like, it maybe could just be like those tentacle arm Grimms just creep out through the town and just strangle everyone in their sleep.
Yeah,
that's a possibility.
Maybe. Yeah,
I could see that.
I'm sticking to my theory that I guess that and stuff like that, they all just deal with like their worst fears. So like, and it basically just like kind of cuts to each person, like experiencing this. So like Weiss wakes up in her family's mansion and stuff like that, and is just freaking out over that. Tries to find her mom to get her help. Looks for Klein, he's not there. Whitley is there, basically taunting her, probably also maybe trying to kill her and stuff like that. Yang wakes up, she's only got her one arm. Adam's there, she's like still in the cabin, so they're kind of like, maybe it's not actually, so like maybe they start with like Yang's thing, she wakes up, she's still in the cabin, but she's only got one arm and she can't find anyone and stuff like that. And then Adam shows up and she's just freaking out there. Not sure what Blake's like worst fear would be, maybe just like, I don't know, being locked in a cage or something like that, or just everyone rejecting her or something. I don't know. Yeah. And then like Ruby's is that, she's she's going around and like maybe it's Salem stalking her and stuff like that. And also, she's watching everyone she cares about die and stuff like that. And like she's hearing like Penny and Pyrrha's voices and maybe even Roman's voices in her head, telling her, you let us die and stuff like that. And, everyone you loved is going to die. This is what you're doing and stuff. And then maybe we also see like Oscar's and his fears just getting swallowed up by Ozpin and just slowly losing himself. Like he looks in the mirror and he's slowly turning into Ozpin. Don't think he really knows what Ozpin looks like, or maybe like he's turning into Ozma or something like that. But he's just like, completely losing himself. And then Crow's is probably that, I don't know, like just that just being completely alone. Nobody cared about him, loves him, and he's just just feeling like he's wasted his life, and maybe even like even in his dream he's descending even further and further into alcoholism and stuff like that. So I don't know. That's what I think. I still like that idea that it's some sort of nightmare type thing.
Yeah, just like it's a Freddy Krueger.
That works too. I mean, either one of those would be really fun to watch. So,
yeah.
It's like, I don't know. Both of them are really good still.
Yeah.
I disagree. We may like have different opinions on how like the order goes, but
yeah,
all in all, you can still get the same result. Besides, like you were talking about, like taking Crow out, so
or maybe that's what we mean when we say they get God, like it goes in jumps, stuff like that, and they all like slowly makes them all fall asleep and stuff like that, and then like episode 7 is them all in this nightmare world before they're finally woken up by like Maria or something like that. But who knows? Anyway, I kind of got to get going pretty soon here. So was there anything else or?
No,
I don't think so.
That, no.
Okay. Oh, cool.
High power here.
Eddie, let's wrap this up. And any plugs will make them, and we can shut it down. As I forget to unmute myself.
Well done.
Check out my fanfic again, RWBY 2020. Still been working on it. Like I said, haven't really made any additions since last week, but plan to make some additions. So yeah, pretty soon.
Yeah, if you like this video and you want to see more, like, comment, and subscribe, consider supporting my Patreon. Read my fanfiction, RWBY on, and also read All That Matters. It's not getting the love it deserves. It's almost done, too. It'll probably be done by, well, I doubt it'll be done by the time this goes up. I will have a new, I will have my, well, I mean, by the time anyone else is watching this, the review for last week's episode will have already been up, and the review for this episode will be up Saturday. I don't know what I'm going to be doing in between there. I don't know what the next stream is going to be. I think that's all I had to plug for now, but keep up with the YouTube. I will be making announcements through the YouTube community tab periodically throughout the week, talking about how things are progressing. Because that's going to be something I just do now.
Alright, I got nothing, so.
Yep.
What about your Instagram?
No, I never actually give it out, though, for this stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I remember you mentioning it before. You're like, you do like a fashion Instagram or something like that.
Style.
Oh, and make
Fashion
sure to
is
join the Discord so you can shit post with us.
Yep.
Yes.
And don't forget to send us emails and stuff, because as you can see, we do actually answer them. So, yeah.
We do read them.
All right, yeah. Good episode. Hope the next one is even better, and it definitely has the chance to be. So, glad to see. It's nice to be positive about the show right now.
Yep.
See you guys.
Feels good. See you later.